Welcome back to Unhinged N Loud. Today's episode is one I think a lot of people are going to feel in their chest. Because today isn't just about chronic illness, it's about what happens when your body starts screaming and nobody listens. It's about surviving years of dismissal, misdiagnosis, isolation, grief, and trying to hold life together while silently falling apart behind the scenes. And I think what makes today's conversation so important is that so many people are walking around carrying invisible battles while still being expected to function like everything is normal. Today's guest is someone whose story reflects resilience in a very raw and honest way. Not performative healing, not fake positivity, not just think positive and everything will work out, but real survival. The kind where you lose pieces of yourself and still somehow keep going. Stephanie is the creator of the Phoenix Within Journey, a platform centered around healing, reinvention, grief, resilience, and rebuilding life after hardship. She's an author, an entrepreneur, advocate, survivor, and someone who has lived through years of being unheard medically while still trying to raise children, run businesses, survive emotionally, and keep showing up. And today, we're going there. We're talking about chronic illness, medical gaslighting, delayed diagnosis, trauma, survival mode, identity loss, grief, rebuilding after devastation, and what healing actually looks like when it's messy. Stephanie, welcome to Unhinged N Loud.
Thank you so much, Amber. It's good to be here.
I want to start at the beginning, before the diagnosis, before doctors started connecting dots, what life feeling like in your body was back then, because I know so many people listening know what it feels like to sense something is deeply wrong while everyone around them keeps minimizing it.
You sit there in your body and you think something's off. Something feels wrong. I don't feel right. Maybe I'm tired all the time. Maybe these headaches don't go away. Something's not right. And you start going to the doctor, maybe to your general practitioner or something. And you start asking these questions. And especially for women, you get put off. Oh, you've put on a few pounds. Oh, it's anxiety. You work too much. You need to drink water. They start saying all these things to you. And at first you believe them. And you think, okay, yeah, maybe I don't drink enough water. Maybe I don't get enough sunlight. Maybe I work too hard. I work too many hours, or I'm not getting enough sleep. And you take their advice in the beginning. And those things don't work. The vitamins don't work. The water doesn't work. The sunshine doesn't work. All of the things don't work. And then you press them a little bit. You get your second opinions. The second opinions
Absolutely.
don't work. And then the frustration sets in. Because the more you press, the more frustrated you get.
Absolutely.
And that's when that gaslighting starts getting more frustrating. Because I went from going to the male doctors because they dominated the industry for so long. You didn't see, because we're talking back in the late 90s for me. We're talking in the late 90s here when all this started for me, because you didn't have a lot of female doctors. If you had a female doctor, it was your OBGYN. And if I asked my OBGYN something, she'd be like, yeah, that doesn't sound right. Go see your primary care. And the primary care was a man. And men would sit there and they would tell you, yeah, you're stressed. Oh, it's in your head. Let me refer you to a psychiatrist or to a therapist.
Wow.
You're stressed. You're stressed. After my husband passed away and I was left to raise my kids, it was definitely stress then. You're stressed out. Let's put you on some antidepressants. That'll solve your problems. let's put you on some pills. I'm sure there is a lot of people out there thinking, oh my God, that sounds exactly like me, because doctors just want to throw medication at it and call it a mental issue. And I have no doubts that part of what I was going through was psychiatric. But there were definite medical things that were happening that I now know about that nobody wanted to look at.
When you tell somebody it's this and this, there's nothing worse than you questioning yourself if you're right or if your gut instincts are right. That's the worst feeling you could put on somebody.
And it makes you feel so alone and so isolated. And it confuses you and it makes you question yourself. Makes you question your own sanity. Am I really all in my own head? I sat there for a long time, and I am absolutely sure that some of the problems that I have now, because I'll tell you, mental health has such a physical response. And I'm here to tell you, it has been diagnosed and documented in my medical chart now that the things that I went through mentally while trying to deal with the physical have had physical changes in my system. I went through so much mentally while trying to deal with the physical that it has made physical changes in me. Neurological changes in me that have had physical outcomes. Had I not gone through all of that for so many years, maybe I might not be as sick as I am now.
Yes, because your brain is so powerful that you could literally talk yourself into being sick.
Oh, big time. I spent so many years trying to function inside of a body that was quietly falling apart while being told that everything was explainable, while everything was just stress, while everything was just a psychiatric issue.
I think that's something people really need to hear, because mental health and physical health are not separate systems. They affect each other constantly. Trauma affects the nervous system, and stress affects inflammation. Chronic fear affects the body. Emotional survival mode changes the brain. So it's like everything is connected. I hear a lot of people say it's either physical or it's mental, but in reality, it's deeply connected.
And there is a thing called medical PTSD. And there are so many of us that experience that and don't realize we're experiencing it. It's not just gaslighting.
And I think people underestimate how traumatic long-term medical dismissal actually is, because it's not just physical suffering. It changes how you trust yourself, how you trust your doctors, how you move through the world. I want to know what years of misdiagnosis did to you emotionally.
Yeah. At some point, surviving became so normal to me that I forgot what being healthy was supposed to feel like. To this day, I don't know what being healthy is supposed to feel like. At some point, you just stop fighting what's wrong with you, and you start fighting to prove your sanity and your reality. There is an emotional exhaustion that comes from constantly explaining your symptoms. Especially with me, because I have had to move around so much. I have had to change doctors quite a bit, and your record doesn't always go with you. So when you go to a new doctor and you have to re-explain yourself and redo the entire family history, which I have a very extensive family history of disease and chronic illness. Explain why that matters so much. And then explain everything that's gone wrong, and trying to remember everything that's gone wrong, and trying to remember all of what the tests were inconclusive and why everything linked to each other and so on and so forth. And then on top of that, you have this intense fear of being labeled as dramatic or difficult, which I have been. I actually saw a doctor write something in my file, and then he laid my file down, and for some reason he had to leave the room. I don't remember why, but I opened my file, and right at the top, difficult patient, emotional. I never went back to that doctor's office. But that's not the first time something like that happened. And I'm sure it won't be the last. But I hope it's the last, because I have a wonderful set of doctors now. But just having to constantly self-advocate, especially in my situation where I was a single mother, didn't have a large group of friends, all of my family lived far away. I didn't have anybody to sit in the room with me. I didn't have a husband. I didn't have a boyfriend. I didn't have a best friend. I didn't have anybody to sit there with me and say, hey, you need to sit and listen to her. Shut the hell up to what she has to say. I had to do that for myself. My children were small. Oh, I don't have a husband. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have anybody in my corner. I do now. My son is a wonderful 25-year-old, very tall, very intimidating man that he is. My doctors are very afraid of him. He looks intimidating, but he's just the biggest, shyest teddy bear ever. Something that everybody will identify with is you go and over and over and over again, especially with chronic illness, and autoimmune is a big one. Normal labs.
Oh, wow. Yep.
I know you'll get this one. You'll go and you'll say, symptom, let's run some tests. And they'll run your blood work. And maybe they'll do some scans or whatever. And they'll come back and they'll say, everything looks normal.
And see, that's the thing people don't realize is that autoimmune and chronic illness is so systematic, and doctors are so used to patterns. And inflammation it's your symptoms rarely match your labs, because you could feel this way one day and go to the doctor to get labs done, but it may not show in your labs. And that's why I always say patterns matter. Track your patterns, track your symptoms, track your labs, because it's rarely, that's why it takes so many years for people to actually get diagnosed, because it's never going to match.
No, it's not. And that's why forcing your doctor now, and it's a little easier nowadays than it was 20 years ago. Forcing your doctor to do things. Saying, you know what? We're going to track symptoms. We're going to do these labs today. We're going to do them again in 2 weeks. We're going to do them 2 weeks after that. Because now in these patient portals, that they have trackers. And they can track these symptoms. They can track these labs, and they can track changes in lab markers. And they can say, oh, wait a minute. Your inflammation here and here and here. Yeah, now we see a pattern. Where 20 years ago, they draw your labs and they'd go, it's
see
good.
I think the thing with the portal thing is they have so many patients, though, that they're not really looking back at your labs unless if you actually tell them, look at it, because this is what I noticed from April to November, and this is what it was, and I'm trying to show you. And I went to the hospital and I got an MRI done, and you can get your results in the portal. I wasn't about to stay an hour to get my results, so I left. She ended up putting false information in my medical chart, so I had to call him for her to redact it. And a lot of people don't realize that what is in your medical chart goes with you. Life insurance, medical insurance, all this stuff. So you really got to be on them. And I had to go to my doctor and say, I need this lab done because this is not adding up.
And that's why I have all of my portals saved in my computer. And I check them like I do my email, because I guess that's a benefit of being on disability and not being able to work and not being able to do the things I do, is I have time to keep up with that crap. I do it like a part-time job, because I'm not letting these doctors get away with anything anymore. They're going to keep up with my stuff.
Exactly. That's their job. A lot of people say, my doctor's not doing this, my doctor's not doing that. They work for you. You have the option to go seek a second opinion. If you don't like your doctor, find a better one. And it's crazy how many women are sitting in those appointments completely alone. How much harder this journey becomes when you don't have a support system. I can't imagine how hard you were, and how much you were physically suffering, but you were carrying the entire burden of advocating for yourself and exhausted.
Oh, yeah. And I think back to times when I would have visits to the ER or something that I was completely alone, crying in tears, sobbing in the ER. And of course, I know the nurses are busy, doctors are busy, and they don't have time to sit there and hold your hand. I get that. I have lots of friends that are ER nurses, and they've told me they've had patients that have been in those situations and they feel horrible that they don't have time to sit there and hold their hand. And I get it. Been there. It's horrific.
I've worked in the emergency room, and I worked the ER from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then I worked in the pediatric unit from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. And I've seen patients slip through the cracks. And it's just such a fast-paced place that they don't have time to really dig into what is going on. And it's heartbreaking, because you see patients and they walk in there and they clearly have something going on. They're crying, but labs, of course, are not adding up, so there's nothing really they can do.
Yeah, they're there to make sure you're not immediately dying. Or
I can't imagine, you're already depleted emotionally and physically, but having to constantly fight for yourself becomes another full-time job.
Yeah, it does. You get to a point where, after the constant tests and everything's normal and constantly being your own investigator, and the damage to your self-trust and your confidence, and every doctor you go to saying everything's normal and everything, at some point you just stop fighting the illness and you start fighting to prove your reality. And the emotional damage of not being believed can become just as painful as the illness itself.
Absolutely. You mentioned suffering a mild stroke in 2023, and that becoming a turning point where doctors finally started uncovering a much bigger picture. Can you walk us through that season?
Yes. I'll give you a tiny bit of backstory on that. I was running my own business, and it was very successful, although very busy and long days. I was at work and had been busy for a very long time. I was just sitting at my desk, running an appointment, and had a headache that morning, but I have had migraines for 15 years, so I didn't think much of it. Headache was a little different than usual. But I thought, okay, I have different headaches all the time. It's just new migraine. You don't think much of it. I was a little dizzy, and I thought, maybe I'm getting a flu. When you've been sick with so many different things and it's just something new piles on, you brush it off. You learn that it's just something new, something else I'm going to have to investigate. And I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting still in my chair looking at the computer screen. And I don't know if you've ever had vertigo.
Yes.
But you can literally move your eyes and not your head, and all of a sudden the room just spins a little bit. I had that kind of feeling, and I'm like, okay, I've had vertigo before. I know what this is. It's vertigo. If I sit here for a minute, it'll go away. It didn't go away. It got worse. And then all of a sudden, something I had done 1,000 times before, I'm looking at the computer screen and nothing on the screen made sense. I was completely confused by everything that was on the screen. And I went to slightly move my head to the left, and I almost fell out of my chair. So I called in one of my employees, had her finish up what I was doing. And I went into the other room and called my father, because I was living in Arizona at the time. And told my dad, I said, you need to come in. You need to finish up today. I'm not feeling good. My stubborn self, now I only lived a mile from my office. My stubborn self got in my sports car and drove myself home and got to the house, called my doctors, spoke to a nurse. She asked me a bunch of questions, and she said, I don't like what I'm hearing. I think you may be having a stroke. I'm calling an ambulance. I said, no, you're not. Because you can follow me on this. When you've been through as much as we've been through, we don't like doctors. And we sure don't like ambulances. And I said, no, I'll call somebody to take me to the hospital. She goes, no, you need to go now. I said, I live 2 miles from the hospital. I can get somebody here in 2 minutes, take me to the hospital. She goes, are you sure? I'm like, yes. And this nurse knew me very well. We were friends. She goes, okay. She goes, don't you dare drive yourself to the hospital. I was like, I won't. What did I do? Drove myself to the hospital. So I got there, walked in, still very dizzy, still very confused, but I got there safely. Walked in, they did the little fast test on me. And the lady looked at me and she goes, now, I need to do something. Don't be alarmed. And I go, huh? And before I got huh out of my mouth, she picks up her little phone and goes, stroke alert, ER. Mom. After that, everything was a blur for a day and a half. They suspected, because of course they can't read it on any kind of like scans or anything, a mild, what they call a TIA, a trans-ischemic attack. And they believe it was stress-induced. So after that, I got to go to a very good neurologist in Arizona, a specialty neurologist. And he ran a bunch of tests, did a whole bunch of other things. We started talking about how I felt like I had been missing time when I was driving. I'd be driving, and all of a sudden, I was somewhere else and couldn't remember that I'd been driving. And I thought it was just that, what do they call it? Highway blindness. You know, sometimes you'll be driving and just be like, oh, I don't remember driving there.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's the thing. But usually after you think about it for a minute, you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember driving. But I never remembered it. So after a while, they said, okay, guess what? Because I had been in numerous car accidents in my life. I had numerous concussions, plus this stroke. I had a family history of stroke. And they're like, guess what? All those little things you miss in driving, those were absence seizures. We estimate you have about anywhere from 100 to 300 a day. And you've been doing this for about 10 years, probably. At the time, it was called complex partial epilepsy. Now it's called focal aware epilepsy. So I have absence seizures, and I also have what they call focal aware seizures, where I will just pass out. I can hear what's going on around me, but I can't respond to it. I do get a little bit of a warning shot with some dizziness and facial tingling, but once I sit down and pass out, that's it for a minute or two. I'm out for the count. But I also have early onset dementia because of all of this. On top of that, I have migraines. I have arthritis, which I found out has degenerated my spine to the point of the lower, I forget which lumbars they are. I think it's 4 and 5 have cracked. Not the discs, but the actual bones. I have nerve damage on my right side, which makes it where I can't walk real well. All of this has been progressing for the past 10 to 15 years, and all of the doctors have told me that this should have been caught. The neurologist is also processing, in cahoots with the cardiologist, palpitations I've had for years, which they think are actually would have been a precursor to the seizures, which may have been a seizure in itself, because they started around the time of my first accident. So they're like, they could have probably diagnosed your seizures from that, and you may have never had any of these issues.
I just want to say how unbelievably heavy that is to carry, because people hear words like migraine, arthritis, nerve damage, seizures. I don't think they fully grasp what daily life actually looks like, living inside all of those simultaneously.
Yeah. So I'm not even don't count how many issues I have, because it's not done yet. I'm not finished with the doctors, because I still have a stress test and an echo to go in the next 10 days, which could either uncover that it's just something that's connected to the epilepsy and that's it, or it could be something cardiac related that's in addition to the epilepsy, which will be another condition because of the heart related stuff that's all over both sides of my family history wise. My mother passed away of a massive heart attack at 53, and I'm 52.
Oh my goodness.
So that's something that rolls around in my head all the time. So it's just, I'm relieved that I'm finally finding out all of the pieces and that the puzzle is finally coming together. But at the same time, I am grieving all of the years that I could have been treated early stage. I may have not had my life pretty much come to a screeching halt at 52. I may not have been on this path of severe neurological decline at 52. I may not have had where I'm living with my son, and my son at age 25 is my caregiver at age 52. Where I constantly lose my train of thought at age 52.
And see, that's what a lot of people don't even realize as well, is like how emotionally conflicting diagnosis can be, because answers bring validation, but they also bring grief. Like you just said, like, why did this take so long?
Yeah. There is a validation in finally being heard and getting things done. But there is a heavy grief in realizing how long my body had been struggling. When you finally sit down and you get all these answers and you get all these solutions, it really does suck. Because I have been such a independent person for a lot of years. My boy's dad passed away 23 years ago. I've been a single mom a long time. And I've been doing it alone. Nobody's helped me, and I'm fine with that. But to have my career that I have built and been very successful at, to literally be yanked out from underneath me. Because I don't drive. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. I may sit in the house for a week and do nothing. because my son works. He just got a new job. My son works now where he'll be gone for a week at a time. I have a caregiver that's coming in while he's gone. So that might change a little bit where I might get out of the house once a week now, but I may not even walk outside for a week at a time.
That's damaging to every part of yourself.
It is. It really is. And I left Arizona to move here, where I used to know people here. We lived here prior when the kids were little, but I don't know anybody here.
No, that's one of the deepest griefs of chronic illness that people rarely talk about is grief of losing your independence. You know, they think about the pain, doctors, medication, hospitals, but they don't think about the identity loss that comes with it.
Yeah, there is a flip side to it that you think about normal, whatever normal looks like nowadays. Normal-ish life where you get up and you do things, whatever those things are. But small things like driving a car, going to the grocery store, grabbing a burger, going and grabbing your favorite coffee, walking through the department store, window shopping. Little things like that everybody takes for granted.
Exactly.
When you cannot do those things anymore, when those things are taken from you, forcefully taken.
Because you don't know which.
I can't even, the other day, I wanted a candy bar. I have to ask my son to get me a candy bar on his way home from work and hope he remembers.
DoorDash you a candy bar.
Girl, we live 2.5 miles from the nearest gas station.
Oh my goodness.
I live in the country.
So you were stuck in the boondocks.
Yeah, we live in a gated community 2.5 miles from the nearest gas station. I live about 30 minutes outside of Tallahassee, Florida. So I don't even get DoorDash. I probably could, but it'd cost some money. It'd be $20 tip. Yeah. So it's not. It's one of those things where it's like you really get ripped. Things ripped away from you. It's wild. It's a wild concept that a lot of people don't understand.
Like, you have your warnings, but it's not like, oh, I'm about to have my everything taken away from me type of warning. But just one day you wake up and it's symptom after symptom. And you know, you can't do this, you can't do that because this hurts and that hurts. And there's no warning for it.
Nothing prepares you for walking into that neurologist's office. And the neurologist hands you a letter and makes you sign it and says, you're going to drive your truck home and you're not going to pick up your keys again.
What?
Yes, ma'am. The type of seizures that I have, there's no cure for those. I don't even know that I have absence seizures. I don't even know I have them. The other ones, I can tell they're coming.
I take Keppra for mine and I can tell when they're coming because I'll start jerking and I'm like, yep, it's about to happen.
But the absence seizures,
Ooh.
I don't even know I have them.
That realization is heartbreaking.
Like when I had my truck, it had the automatic braking and the screeching little red flashing light. The last time I had one in my truck, I was about 300 yards behind a car. And the next thing I know, that thing is flashing and screaming in my face and the truck was stopping. It seemed like a second happened between I was way back here and then all of a sudden I'm up on them. The time just disappears. So I don't know if the medicine will ever help that, like it will my other stuff. or if they'll keep coming and the other seizures go away. There's no way to know. Best thing for me to do is not to ever drive again.
Yeah, to keep yourself safe.
To keep everybody else safe.
You first, because you could easily say, I'm going to go drive today, and you would never make it home, or you and somebody else. Like, that's just... And that's like the thing about chronic illness is it doesn't take your life all at once. It's like pieces, like a little freedom here, a little mobility there, a little independence there. And then you wake up one day and realize that your entire life looks different than what it used to be.
Yeah. And a little over a year ago, year and a half ago, I was making $150,000 a year out of a desk in my house. Part-time.
That's awful different.
On my own schedule. Just for funsies.
One thing you said stood out to me deeply. And you said it was the idea that healing is not always inspirational the way social media portrays it.
No, ma'am.
I think that's one of the realest things anyone could say.
I got some funny stuff for you here. I'm working on a couple of things because one thing that keeps me sane is my writing, and I'm working on actually a couple of pieces. One that's going to be coming out very soon. That I'm just self-publishing everything now because I don't know what is wrong with literary agents now. They don't want real stuff. They want fluff now. I don't know what's going on. One that I'm coming out with is called Living in a Permanent Start Over. And it's all about what I'm going through now. I'm working on the last bit of that. Hopefully I'll have that done in the next month or so. And the other one is called Truth Before Hope. That may take me a while to finish because that is about just what we're talking about now. Healing not always being inspirational. Because there is so many things about the toxic positivity culture and the pressure to stay strong and perform.
Yes, I was about to expand on that because I think a lot of people need to hear this.
These hope gurus and choose joy, this over-filtered warrior aesthetic, ick. And please forgive me because I know you have your shelf in your fridge, but I beat illness with turmeric and essential oils.
And I admit to people, it does not heal autoimmune disease, but those things are good for inflammation.
They're good for what they're good for.
And some people, everybody's body's different. So, there's a lot of people that may not be able to handle that stuff.
And some people work for, some people it doesn't. And like I said, they're good for what they're good for, but they are not a cure-all. But one thing somebody said to me, and I absolutely I laughed so hard, I almost peed my pants. And I was saying these things to them, and they said, oh my God, yes, no inspiration porn.
I want that.
And I said, yes.
Oh my God, it's funny.
It's so true, because it's like, that's exactly what it is. People get so wrapped up in this toxic inspiration porn, and it's like people feed off of it. And it's like, they're like, oh yes, if anybody that's listening to this has ever spent 2 minutes on my Facebook page or my private group, which I think I invited you to, I don't know if you joined yet.
Yes.
Or my TikTok page. I wish my Instagram page had not gotten hacked and taken down, but it is not about any of that. I put real crap on there. And my stuff is about grief cycles, exhaustion, depression, anger, fear, survival fatigue, learning self-compassion, accepting the hard truths without giving up hope. People do not need to be talked out of their pain. They need to feel safe telling the truth about it. Real hope grows from honesty, not from pretending suffering doesn't exist.
Yes.
That's what the truth before hope philosophy is about. It is about telling your real, hard-earned, raw, honest truth. Because there is hope on the other side of things. There is light on the other side of things. There is life on the other side of pain. There's no doubting that.
This positivity shit. They feel like they don't have anywhere to share their pain, and it's just.
I am proof that there's something on the other side of all of that. It can be ugly and it can be messy and it can have its bad days. There's a lot of bad days, but there's good days too. But being honest about your difficult emotions and accepting your limitations without losing your worth. Learning that healing is not linear. There are waves and ebbs and flows to it. That is what that philosophy circles around. And it is so important to understand that no one should take your truth from you. Say it out loud. Be proud about it. And don't let anybody tell you anything other than that.
I completely agree. Because I think that's why I started Unhinged N Loud. Because I felt like people deserve spaces where they don't have to perform the healing. Where they can say, I'm struggling, I'm exhausted, I'm grieving, I'm scared, without being made to feel weak.
Yeah. And I think it's a magnificent platform. And there needs to be so many more of them out there. People need to find people like us.
Why do you think people fear honest conversations around suffering?
Because it's real. And because they have a fear of judgment. I had that same fear. When you've been through so much, especially in the chronic illness community, especially with your doctors and people around you that want to blow that false hope into you, that puff of fake positivity up your butt. When you really need to sit down and talk to people about what's going on in your life and how you feel, people get afraid to be real about it because they're afraid that people will judge them for how they truly feel. I know I've experienced that myself, even with my son. As much as my son loves me, when I tell him how I feel, there are times where he'll look at me and say, oh, you just don't get it enough. Or if you just did this more, or you just need to meet people. You need to get outside and meet more people. You would be as lonely. And I understand that he doesn't understand. But it doesn't make it any less frustrating.
Exactly.
And there's no way to get him to understand. He will never understand. Because you can't understand unless you're in the situation.
You are absolutely right, because that's another painful reality of chronic illness. Sometimes even the people who love you the most still don't fully understand what you're carrying.
Which I think the segue here, why caregivers get so frustrated, is because they have no way of understanding what the people they're caring for is going through. Because there is a blockade in the communication. They don't get it. And even the caregiver groups, yeah, they might get each other and each other's frustrations, but there's no bridge between the two. There's nobody telling the caregivers what the patients are experiencing, and vice versa.
Caregiver groups, like you said, they're only talking about what they are experiencing. It's just caregivers.
Yeah. To circle back around, regardless who you are in the game or who you are in this situation, there's a big fear of abandonment, of judgment, of just all around eyes on people, of what are people going to think of me if I say it out loud.
It's hard for someone to describe, because we're all walking down the same journey, but we all have different days. So it's hard to explain to someone what we're going through when it's invisible, because we can look fine and text and smile one minute and be in horrible pain the next, and it's just a complicated disease.
I wish that there were more ways for people to feel comfortable expressing their frustrations and have outlets for their pain, whether it be mental pain, physical pain, or whatever.
I think maybe that's something you and I could create for people.
I think we could. I think we need to.
Absolutely. I think that would be a great idea, because they don't have anybody else that they can have their outlet to that would understand.
Yeah, I agree.
What has rebuilding looked like emotionally? Because I know you're building your Phoenix now, and you had your business and you had to rebuild this all from the bottom. What has it been like for you?
Excuse me. When things get stripped away, you feel like you completely lost your identity. And sometimes you feel like you need to start over emotionally. For me, personally, because that's all I can speak for, I needed to reinvent myself a little bit, because who I was before as a general identity no longer fit the scope. I was an entrepreneur, a business owner, a pillar of the community, somebody that was there in general for people and solved problems and fixed puzzles and did things. And a lot of that I was not capable of anymore. So I had to figure out how I could take pieces of that and fit it into this new identity. The first thing I did was I wanted to write my memoir for probably the last decade, and never really could figure out how to do that or when to do that. And this diagnosis was like that final puzzle piece in there. And I was like, you know what? Now's the time. So I wrote it and I published it and I put it out. And then I thought, maybe now's the time to take all that pain from all those years and turn it into some purpose, start a little platform, and get my story out there. And my thought in the back of my head was, if my story could inspire one person, could help heal one person, could bring a little light to one person to where they could say, hey, this sounds like me. This piece of the story sounds like me. I don't feel so alone. Then it's done its job.
Exactly.
So I went out there and I created a page, created TikTok, created an Instagram, and just let it go from there. And started learning how to create boundaries in my own life, learning how to rest, redefining my worth outside of daily productivity, finding a little meaning in everyday life, and rebuilding things like that. It stopped learning how to create meaning inside what I have now. I may not control what happened to me, but I can choose what to do with the time and the voice that I still have. And what I have chosen to do with that is to take pieces of what I knew before and use that to be a beacon to people that I have the ability to touch now. And from a year ago, when I started this little page and this little TikTok account with 20 followers or whatever it was. Now I have to minus the Instagram page because it got hacked, but I'm not even going to count the amount of followers. But I have gotten so many emails and messages, and I've got the private group, I've got my Facebook page, I've got my TikTok page. I have written and published. I've got my memoir. I've got 2 journals. I've got now 2 entrepreneurial books. I've got another book that I'm working on publishing, and then another one right behind it, and probably another one after that. I also have my music that I'm doing that I've got that releases over all the platforms.
And you have a beautiful voice.
Not today, but thank you. That has been a passion project for years. I used to love to sing when I was younger, and I decided to write the music to tell a little bit of my life story, because obviously different people react to stories in different ways, and some people react to music like me. And so the first set of stuff that I put out was the part of finding myself. The second album that will come out is just setting the boundaries. And then I've got a third album that I'm working on. So everything, the first and second album, will all be out by the end of the year. So it's all good stuff. But it all tells a story about feeling and purpose. And it's country genre, but that's me because I'm a country girl. If country's not your thing, sorry.
Hey, it's beautiful music though. Lori shared it with me.
Oh yeah, Lori's my biggest fan. She's definitely a super fan when it comes to my music. But when life takes things from you like this, and I am an extreme case, I think. Sometimes I don't realize how extreme of a case I am until I sit down like this and talk about it. When life takes from you like it's taken from me, you really just have to sit back and think, okay, I either have to let it beat me or I have to take it back. And I chose to take it back.
I think that's the most powerful thing someone could say, because after devastation, you're not pretending nothing changed, but you're learning how to rebuild identity inside the reality that exists now.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That sentence alone can change someone's life. What would you say to someone currently feeling hopeless?
Oh. Every single storm cloud is blown in by the wind. It's also blown out by the wind. It's also covering the sun. It's just a matter of time before it's going to blow on by. Just as the day passes, the moment's going to pass. Life sucks. There's no sugarcoating it. Whatever you're going through sucks. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I'm not Willy Wonka. I'm not here to sugarcoat it for you. What I am going to say to you is own your pain. Say it out loud. Cry about it if you have to. But your job is not to live in it and wallow in it. Your job is to let it out, set it down, and walk on. There is more life ahead of you. I don't know your situation. I don't know if it's your back hurts because you have a deteriorating spine or if you have end-stage cancer. I don't know. I don't know whether you have a day or 100 years ahead of you. But there is something ahead of you. I don't know if you have 100 people in your life that love you or nobody in your life that loves you. But I love you. And Amber loves you.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if you're listening to this, take your moment, feel your feelings, and then get up off your butt and go do something.
I think that there's a big difference between acknowledging pain and surrendering your entire identity to pain.
Absolutely. Now, don't get me wrong. There are still days where I lay in bed and cry. 100%. Day before yesterday, I laid in bed most of the day. Didn't cry, but I laid in bed most of the day and felt sorry for myself. There's nothing wrong with that. I got up out of bed the next day.
And I kept moving. That's important because I feel like so many people feel stuck like inside survival mode. Their diagnosis became their entire identity, or their grief became their entire identity, or their pain became their entire identity. And while pain changes you, it's just not the only thing you are.
No. Because you could be the woman that has a beautiful rose garden outside. You could be the guy that still knows how to tie an amazing fly for fly fishing. You could be the guy that helps kids fix their bikes. Or the woman that bakes amazing sourdough bread. There's more to you than your diagnosis. I have, like I said, we're still not going to count them. How many diagnoses I have. Because there are several. And we're still counting. Okay. Or we're still not counting. There's still maybe more. I am the exception, the rarity that has way too many. But I am not those. I am an author. I am a social media content creator. I am a singer-songwriter. I am a podcaster. I am a mother. I am a friend. On my good days, I'm an amazing cook. I'm an avid coffee drinker. But I am not my diagnosis. So find things that you are, not the things that you should not be labeling yourself as.
I think that's something chronic illness slowly tries to steal from people, your sense of identity outside of survival. Because after enough appointments, medications, symptoms, scans, diagnosis, and limitations, People stop introducing themselves as who they are and start introducing themselves as what they have.
Yeah.
And it's sad because that's not who you are.
No. It's not who you are. It's just what you have. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with wearing the funny epilepsy shirts that says, "Excuse me, I'm buffering." That's funny. But you're absolutely right. Don't identify as your diagnosis. That's just gonna drag you down. Like I said, find something that you've always been passionate about. Find something you've always been great at. Make that your identity. The other stuff is just other stuff. It's just somebody who happens to have a short thumb or something. That's just a weird little quirk about them. It's not who you are.
Right. That's important.
When you have the flu, is that who you are? No, you just have the flu. Nobody points to you and says, "Oh, that's the girl with the flu." No, that's Amber.
I think that's important.
So be who you've always been. That wonderful, sweet girl that makes amazing sourdough or whatever. Who happens to have moves like Jagger every now and then.
Yeah, don't lose yourself in the diagnosis.
No. Because that's too easy. Do the hard thing. Makes life interesting.
I'm going to do something that's called the things people don't talk about. I'm going to say a topic and I want your honest reaction. Medical gaslighting.
Okay. I think that it is probably the most awful thing that doctors can do. And I think your reaction should be to absolutely call them out on it immediately.
Agreed. Losing friends during illness.
That's a rough one, but it's a two-pronged thing. On one hand, sometimes friendships naturally fade. People get busy, things happen. On the other hand, if they were truly your friends, you wouldn't lose them. Not completely. Yeah.
Because you're not going to talk to your friends every day, but they should at least call and check up on you. You shouldn't lose them completely. Financial devastation from illness.
This is a big one because I know there's a lot of people out there that may not qualify for Medicaid. They're not old enough to qualify for Medicare, or they're not on a disability yet. Maybe they lost their job and they no longer have health insurance or whatever. And then the doctor's visits, hospital visits, or whatever can really rack up a lot of debt. Yeah. That can cause a lot of depression. It can absolutely, you can lose your house, you can lose your car, it can cause a whole host of issues.
Job at that point.
Yeah, I mean, where do you go? What do you do? Yeah, it becomes this huge catch-22 because then how do you get to work? And this could be a whole other topic. I think we need to do a whole podcast on this. I have a background in insurance. I'm actually a licensed insurance professional. I've been one for 15 years. There's a lot to unpack there.
Okay, y'all, this is to be continued.
Bottom line, it's a really hard thing to go through. And I think preparation in any way, shape, or form that you can possibly do to avoid that at all costs is probably the best course of action.
Feeling guilty for resting.
Oh, it's a big one. Big one for me. A lot of us spend our whole lives in go mode. And when we get to the point where we have a chronic illness where we have to rest, there's no negotiation on it. When our bodies just say, okay, now down you go, and you feel guilty for needing that rest, for needing the reset time. Y'all got to stop it. And I'm speaking to myself here too. We got to stop that. Because if we don't let our bodies rest and reset, we're going to make ourselves sicker. And we're going to need more medical attention. And more medical attention means we have to go see the doctor again, which we all hate. So stop it.
So one day of resting versus another 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. How long ever it takes for a whole other diagnosis because you ain't rest.
Or an ER visit or a week in the hospital. So knock it off.
Cognitive decline fears.
Say that one again.
Cognitive decline fears.
Oh boy, that's a big one for me. For me, the fear of declining cognitively is a big one because, again, I'm 52 years old. And my son already tells me that I repeat things all the time. I repeat questions. I repeat stories. And I forget things all the time. I can forget I'm cooking while I'm standing in front of the stove cooking. And it really sucks because you think about cognitive decline and an image of a little old gray-haired lady or a little old man pops up in your head. Not somebody who's in their early 50s and I've been told looks like they're in their 30s. You don't think of somebody my age. You don't think of somebody who shouldn't even be retired yet, let alone disabled and forgetting things. Research shows that somebody diagnosed at my age will probably have almost complete memory loss inside of 10 years. And the lifespan or reduced life expectancy of someone with all of my comorbidities is probably age 65 to 70. So the fear associated with all of that it weighs on you a lot.
I can't imagine. But I believe that God can work whatever he wants. I said, doctors and their scientific facts, they can, put whatever they want to out there, but ultimately, God can change any circumstance. That's how I feel about that.
I know. And people tell me all the time that, oh, you can research all day long, studies and everything can show this and that, and I could live to be 100. Which is very true.
But you still have it in the back of your mind.
I don't think about it. Yeah, I don't think about it a lot, but I do think about it occasionally. And I think about my mother passing away at the age she did. And I think about, there's only been 5 or 6 members of my fairly close members of my family that have lived past 75. And all the members of my family that are really close, my brothers, my aunts, uncles, mom, dad, that if they've lived past that age, they've been so sick it's not worth living. Or they didn't know who the hell was around them and stuff like that. I try not to think about it.
Yeah.
Because even if I do live longer, I won't even know who I am at that point.
That's heartbreaking. But you know what? You're going to be running a podcast.
It is what it is. I'm going to enjoy the life that I have.
Exactly. Enjoy every moment.
Could you imagine how funny that podcast would be? Could you imagine? A dementia podcast? That'd be funny.
It's an idea.
You never know what's going to come out of my mouth.
Okay. Parenting while chronically ill.
Get you to ask all the questions.
And then you answer other people's responses. They can tune in and ask questions. That'd be funny. Okay. Parenting while chronically ill.
Oh, that's a tough one for some parents because that goes back to energy levels, forced rest. We talk about the spoon theory, and depending on the age of the children, having to divvy up your spoons because there are certain things you have to do for your children, again, depending on age, and then things that you either choose to do for yourself or you have to do for yourself. So when you're chronically ill and having to take care of your children, sometimes you have that spouse to help you, and sometimes you don't have a spouse, or you have a spouse that chooses not to help. That can be exceptionally difficult.
Yeah, because it's like if you have no energy and you're about to die or feel like you're about to die, and you have nobody to reach out to because nobody's understanding what's going on, or they'd all disappeared by now. And what do? That's why there needs to be real support groups.
I agree.
Being strong for everyone else.
Oh, wow. So, again, this one kind of hits home because I'm going to bring this into a little something that back in my early insurance days, I had this sweet lady that I used to go collect insurance premiums from. Her name was Miss Mona, and she was a little teeny tiny woman. And every time I'd go collect her insurance premium, she would make me sit down and drink a glass of sweet tea with her. And I'd sit there for maybe 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes sometimes, depending on my schedule, what I had going on that day. And most of the time we talk about her grandkids or whatever. But once in a while, she'd ask me about my life. I looked particularly stressed that day. And one day I just had it with my kids and money. And I broke in front of her and told her that I had just been doing everything for everybody and didn't really have any energy for myself and time for myself, and had really washed my hair in a few days and didn't have time to do this or that. She come over with a pitcher of tea. She always poured out of this real pretty crystal pitcher. She come over, she grabbed my glass, and then she set my glass back down. She held the pitcher up. She said, "Baby," she said, "if this was empty, could I pour you a glass of tea?" And I said, "No, ma'am." And then she poured me a big old glass and she goes, "All right, then." And I looked at her funny and I said, "What does that have to do with anything?" She goes, "Baby, this is you," showing me the picture. And she goes, "If this is empty, how in the hell are you going to fill up anybody else's glass?" And she set the pitcher down. She goes, "There. Now drink your tea." And that lesson has stuck with me all these years. And so when you're putting everybody else first all the time, you're bound to burn out. As fast as humanly possible, you are going to burn out. Because if you don't fill up your own cup first, if you don't take care of yourself first, even with the most basic of needs, there is no possible way that you can properly care for other people. And as a side note to that, watch who you are giving of yourself to. Watch whose cup you are pouring into.
Yeah.
Because
so
some people
will come around for handouts.
Are purposely emptying their cup. Wait a minute. Some people purposely either empty their own cups or buy extra solo cups just to get something out of your pitcher, even when they don't need it.
That is so true on every level. Yes. I've never heard that before.
They just want to see you empty your pitcher.
People love to see people miserable.
Yeah. They just want to see people do. So help who you want to help. Absolutely. If your heart is called to help people, don't ever just not help somebody. But if your gut is telling you that this person is just begging for help, just to beg for help, just turn and walk away. Because there's somebody else down the road that truly needs that help.
Right. Yes.
That's true.
I think
there's
big.
Nothing on this earth that is more important than you.
I love that. Okay, next one. Grieving your old life. Because I know we all do that. Your old identity. All of it.
Grieving your old life, your old identity, is no different than grieving the death of someone close to you. You're going to go through all the same levels of grief that you do if a family member died. You're going to be angry. You're going to be sad. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be all the things. You're going to want to put your fist through a wall. You're going to cry about it. You're going to try to bargain for it. And you need to go through all of those steps. Fully and wholly. And when you get to the level of acceptance, you need to fully accept that you are no longer that person. And that there's nothing wrong with that. Because whether you lost your identity because of chronic illness or a diagnosis or whatever it is, it doesn't matter why you lost that part of you or that person that you were. Because something you need to understand is there's no difference in losing your identity this way and losing an identity from who you were in high school. It just took a different path and it took longer. It was more abrupt. Because think about who you were in high school. You're not that person anymore. You are nowhere near who that person was. You just grew out of that person. The only difference between that change and this change is this one was abrupt. It felt like somebody stole something from you. You had no choice in the matter. So you need to go through a different path of acceptance. So go through those stages of grief. Get to that level of acceptance and understand that this is okay too.
I love that concept.
It's just a different way to getting to a better version of yourself.
Because once you can accept it, you can start living your life accordingly on how that acceptance is.
That's right.
Fear of becoming a burden.
This is something I wrestle with all the time.
Me too.
Because some people, they live with their spouse. Maybe they wrestle with having to ask a neighbor to help them bring in their groceries, or they have to get somebody to help them at the grocery store or whatever. I had to move in with my child. My son bought a house so I could live with him. He was living in a 1-bedroom apartment, minding his own business, living his best life with plenty of extra money, doing his thing. And here comes mom. And he had to go buy a house so he could take care of his mom for the rest of her life.
He didn't have to, though. He chose to.
No, there was conversations and stuff. It was going to be him or his brother. And then he realized that this was a better situation for me, so he chose to do this. But in my mind, he had to. Because he knew that he was the better option. So there really wasn't a choice. And he knew that I didn't really have anywhere else to go that was safe. So he had to. So now here I am in his home. And he has to do the cooking, and he has to do this, and he has to do that. Again, this is from my perspective. This is just when my mind gets away from me. Max has to do this. Max has to do that. Max has got to take me here. Max has got to take me there. Oh my God. And then sometimes, like, because I have both of my shoulders have, what do they call them? They're injured. They have the tears in them, and they're frozen partially. So sometimes I have problems getting dressed where I can't quite get my shirts on or off properly. So I'll have to go get my son. Help me get my shirt on. Help me get my shirt off. Or help me put my arm in my jacket or whatever. I feel like a child. And that's when it'll get me. That I'm like, ugh. I'm this massive burden on my 25-year-old son. That now he has to plan his whole life around me. That as long as I'm here, everything he does involves mom. And sometimes that really gets inside my head.
Absolutely.
But then I think about it and I'm like, you know what? If he didn't want to do this, he would 100% find a way to put me in a home somewhere. Or he would just say, Mom, I'm not doing this. Go find somewhere else to be. Or he would call his brother and be like, you need to come get Mom.
Because as much as you love somebody,
he loves me. And I know that. If he truly did not want to do this, he wouldn't be doing it. There's no way. So I know there's people out there that are going to be like me that are going to wrestle with that thought of feeling guilty that they're taking over someone's life. But hear me when I say, these people love you. You are not a burden to them. They are doing this out of the love in their heart. And if you truly feel that way, have a conversation. Sit down, even if it's with tears in your eyes, and have a conversation and tell them how you feel.
Yes, because if you hold
keeping that bottled up is not healthy.
It is important to have conversations.
You need to let that out. And not just some therapists. You need to let that out to your caregivers, to your family. Yeah.
Yeah, I think communication is key to everything. It can help ease your mind. It can relieve what's inside of you. Just like you said, you don't want it bottled up.
Yeah.
Loneliness after diagnosis.
Okay. You're just hitting all the high points for me, aren't you?
We all feel these.
This can affect people in a bunch of different ways, I think. For me specifically, with me living where I live, in the situation that I'm in, I have had friends that have faded out of the picture because I do not have a relationship romantically with anyone. The only people in my life are my sons. I have one son that lives out of state, one son I live with. I don't have people regularly in my life in person. I have a couple people that I talk to, texting every now and then, but I don't have people in my life on a regular basis, whether in person or otherwise. So loneliness becomes a huge factor for me. So I have to busy myself with other things. My writing, my songwriting, my social media stuff. I have to find projects to busy myself with. I have to figure that out for myself. Hopefully, other people in other situations, things that I can recommend is if you can find a way to get involved with your community. Maybe there are community organizations where you can get involved. Like me, if there was a way that I could find, I used to love going to bingo night. I know that sounds like an old lady thing, but I used to love bingo night. And there's nothing around here. I don't know where you're at, but bingo down here in the deep south is, I don't know, crazy people poker night. They get loud, they get unhinged. Especially when they're drinking. But if seriously, they like start yelling things out and that are quite inappropriate, and you can win money. Hey, what's better than that? But for other people, maybe there's, I don't know, if you're involved in your church, there's groups with churches. If there's folks that are a little bit older, maybe you can go to a senior center. If you like animals, maybe you can get involved with, like down here, there's what is called the Florida Wildlife Association or Florida Wild Mammal Association. They take volunteers all the time to go do stuff. And it's not like physically demanding stuff. There's like volunteer things you can go do. There are a lot of things that you can get involved in if you have transportation you can drive. There are other things that you can do online that are volunteer stuff that you can get involved in. Even just groups like ours where you can,
if you can't find anything, create your own
and meet friends. Yeah, create your own. Or like I said, get involved with groups like ours where you can meet people and talk to people and make friends, where even if you can't get out, you can't go anywhere and you can't do anything, you can meet people. I met Lori. I talk to Lori all the time. She's fantastic. She'll check on me if she don't hear from me for a few days. She'll check on me in a heartbeat. She'll be like, where you been? Are you okay? What you doing? Are you sure you're okay? Yes, I'm fine.
And they become
She's
your
amazing.
family.
I would have never met her had it not been for me creating my platform.
Yeah, you create a community or get involved with a community like that, they become like family. Okay, the emotional exhaustion of explaining yourself.
Oh, just emotional?
Any kind of exhaustion of explaining yourself.
Yeah, when it comes to explaining yourself over and over again, if like I talked about before, from doctor to doctor, or even person to person, when you meet new people, trying to become friends with people, eventually you're going to tell them about what you're going through or what you have or your diagnosis or whatever. Because when you become friends with people or romantically involved with somebody, you got to talk about these things. And when it comes to trying to describe what's going on with you, especially somebody like me, it's not just, oh, I have epilepsy. It's, I have epilepsy, I have this. This is why I don't date. Because part of me doesn't date because honestly, I don't really think that there's anybody out there that would want to date somebody like me. They don't want that burden. Especially at my age, especially knowing that I'm never going to live with them, I'm never going to marry them. And I'm very well could only be around another 10 to 20 years max. And half that time, I probably won't know who they are. So, in my opinion, there's not a lot of men out there that would, and I'm talking countrywide, that would want to get involved with that. I'm in a little teeny tiny town in Florida, which makes the dating pool a dating raindrop. So I just don't even bother. But also telling people about this, like you said, the exhaustion from it. You get to know somebody, and then you don't want to get too far into getting to know somebody before you start telling them about your situation. And then they go, poof, they disappear. So it's why, and that's romantically. And then even friendship-wise, it doesn't happen quite as often friendship-wise, especially if you're in the right circles, like our circles. But it's still, even telling people over and over again, even if they're accepting of it, still retelling your story over and over again becomes extremely exhausting. It's like I wish I could post-it note it to my forehead and be like, read this before continuing. Let me just put a disclaimer on my forehead. And then we can be friends. Press accept.
That is so true. Terms and conditions.
I won't make you do a CAPTCHA. Just read that first.
Okay, last one. Hope after trauma.
Oh, my passion project, right? I've got some bullet points here.
Go for it.
Your pain is real. Rebuilding is possible. Again, healing is not linear. Your story still matters. You are not weak. You are not alone. Although survival is exhausting, rebuilding is possible. I am proof. Sometimes rebuilding doesn't look like it's getting your old life back. Sometimes it looks like learning how to create meaning inside a completely different one.
Yes.
Hope is going to look different to every single person because every single person is a completely different scenario. Hope doesn't mean we stop pretending our pain isn't real. That's something I want to be very clear about. It just means that we start building hope from honesty instead.
Love that. Absolutely. For someone listening right now, someone who feels exhausted, dismissed, confused, or even invisible, what would you want them to know?
First of all, you are not invisible. I know there are plenty of people out there right now listening that may be completely alone, physically alone. And I personally have been in your position. I personally have felt your pain. I have felt your experience. And although you may be in the thick of things, and you may be in the absolute darkest of the moment, whether you have people around you or not, you are not stuck there. This is not the end of the road. There are solutions. There is help. There are wonderful groups of people out there that are accepting and loving and kind and wonderful, that want to be your friends, that want to be your support system. Amber's group, my group, and there are several other pages out there that want to be your support system. We want you to know that you don't have to stop where you are. As frustrating as your doctor's appointments might be, there are answers. There are answers coming. I am living proof that the darkness does end. That there is light on the other side of everything. That you can climb out of your valleys. That you can turn pain into purpose. So don't stop where you are.
That's powerful. Stephanie, thank you so much for being here today and for being willing to talk about your story and the truth about what survival really looks like. Not the polished version, not the filter version, the real version. And honestly, I think conversations like this are what help people feel less alone.
I agree. And I appreciate you having me today and allowing me to share everything with your audience.
Absolutely. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. I'm going to link all your information on this podcast so they can reach out to you. And if you're navigating chronic illness, grief, trauma, medical dismissal, or rebuilding after survival, I want you to remember this. Your voice was never the problem. Your pain deserves to be heard. Your voice matters, and you're not crazy for knowing something is wrong. This is Unhinged and Loud, and here we tell the truth before hope.